Why, good morning, Cam.
Oh, hail and well met, fellow traveler.
Mm-mm. I
How
still
are
don't
you?
know what to say to that. I'm doing well.
You could just say hi,
Well, hi
like
there.
a normal person.
Well, hello there, sir.
Oh yeah, guten tag.
Oh, we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about today.
Do we
Apple's Unleashed.
unleashed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Sounds like a horror movie involving dogs.
yeah. But before we get to that, you didn't see the Packer game this last Thursday night, did you?
No, why would I watch the Packers?
Oh, I thought that I was starting to have positive influence on you, but apparently
Incorrect.
I am really excited about the fact that we knocked off the only undefeated team in the league on Thursday night, the Arizona Cardinals. And I have to say that the score doesn't completely represent how it feels like the game went, at least. So it feels like the Packers dominated a lot of it, but both teams really were moving the ball. It just came down to a couple of turnovers. And
Yes, turnovers.
and the last significant play of the game. So imagine yourself, and I apologize, I don't remember the quarterback's name of the Cardinals because I really don't
Kyler
care.
Murray.
Tyler Murray, thank you.
Kyler with a K.
Hmm?
Kyler. Kyler.
Tyler, okay, sorry.
Yes.
So Murray he drops back and I think it's like 3rd and goal, drops back, throws it into the end zone straight to his receiver, and the cornerback for the Packers, Douglas, reaches his hand in and tips it in his direction. He turns around, he catches it, drops 2 feet in bounds, and then goes out of bounds and intercepts the ball in the end zone with, like, I don't know, 14 seconds left in the game. That was the game-winning play, and Douglas just stole it right away from him.
It was a touchback then, right?
No, well, it would have been a touchback, yeah.
Okay. I just because he fell out of the end zone, so I was a bit
Well, he planted 2 feet, so it was a reception. It was an interception.
right, but then he went out of bounds.
So it would have been a touchback, yeah. But man, it was so good. I enjoyed that so much.
I'm happy that that your team won.
And probably the biggest game of the year for them at this point, and what could be the biggest game of the year for them for a while. So until maybe the playoffs. So I'm feeling pretty good about this.
Well, you know what I'm looking forward to today?
There is a game I've seen this advertised during.
Yeah, a football game that
game.
actually matters, that more people actually care about. Number 6 undefeated Michigan at number 9 undefeated Michigan State.
That should be fun.
College game day is there. Big noon kickoff is there. Barstool Sport, like everyone is in East Lansing, which is funny because it's East Lansing. No one's there. No one goes there ever. Mm-hmm. So I'm equal parts excited and terrified because the last time that both Michigan and Michigan State have played each other when they were in the top 10 was in the 60s.
Yeah.
When my parents were like, 2 or 4 or whatever. And Michigan State came into the big house last year and beat Michigan. Michigan was like a 20-point favorite, and we lost that game, and we looked horrible doing it. So and Michigan State's looked really, really good this year on offense. Specifically, I have one of the best running backs in the country. So one team will be undefeated at the end of today, and one will have a loss, and I'm hoping that it's Michigan that is undefeated, but it's going to be exciting, I think, to say the least. Well, it better be.
All right. Well, go Michigan. I'll root with you this.
Woohoo! Good choice, Mitch.
Yeah. Since I know nothing about it, so I'll root with you.
Well, you chose correctly.
All right. Oh, yeah. So
Sports.
I want to tease something real quick that I talked to you about before the show. I have a new toy that I'm playing with today. A new toy sitting in front of me on the desk. that I'm super excited about, and I will talk about it in the delighting me section today because it is very much delighting me.
Did you get a Slinky?
I can't tell you.
He totally got a Slinky, folks. Everyone loves a Slinky.
So, Apple Music Voice.
Terrible idea.
You know, yeah, I don't see a whole lot of reason for it. But it's not the first service like this. Amazon ran something like this for a while for their Echo ecosystem.
Uh-huh.
And you know, for somebody who just wants to have a couple of home pods or something like that they don't want the full-blown Apple Music, I could see that this could be a thing.
Who wants that?
I don't know. Not me, but somebody could.
Really?
Dude, if it's not
I want access.
you,
I want access to music, but I don't want to be able to interact with it in any way other than with my voice. Who wants that?
somebody who has home pods.
I have HomePods. I still want to be able to look at my music and scroll and pick and choose and I don't know, hit a shuffle button.
which is exactly why they have another subscription for you.
It doesn't make any sense.
Okay. I don't know. I don't think it's not. It seems a little bit like when I first heard it, I was like, they're going to have to defend this one. I don't quite get it. I can see where there might be a very small subset of people that might be interested in this, but overall, meh. HomePod's come in orange now.
Are you going to get one?
Man, I'm tempted, but I was thinking about this during the keynote that I could totally get one, but now what do I do with it? Because I don't need it in my studio. I've got studio monitors in here. I've got Bluetooth connectivity to everything. I've got an iMac in here if I want to talk to the lady in the tube. I just don't need it in here. We have an Echo up in the living room, so that, and we've got one up in the bedroom for turning the lights on and off. But so I don't really need another device in the house. On top of that, if I wanted to get a device to put in to listen to music, I'm probably not going to go HomePod. I'm probably going to actually, to be honest with you, the monitors that I have in my studio here have Bluetooth built in, and I would consider getting a second set of these and putting them up in the bookshelves up in the living room, and then just being able to connect our devices to them through Bluetooth and listen to our stuff that way. It makes the most sense for our space.
Then it sounds like you don't need a HomePod.
I don't know that I do. I really want to support that they have an orange one, but at the same time, the product photos on the website make it look a little bit more like the coral color that they had before, that almost has just a slight pink to it, which I'm not real thrilled with that color. So, but yeah, HomePods in color.
Woohoo!
So there was a little surprise, and this wasn't a surprise, it was rumored, but for me it was kind of surprising that I cared about this product so much. And that was the AirPod 3rd generation. So what do you think about that? I mean,
what do you think my biggest complaint is going to be?
The stems and the clicking.
Ding, 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 ding. You are correct, sir.
So I have learned something about myself over the last, several years. I have had a version of, I think, almost every style of AirPod that has been out. So I went and I found them all because I knew we were going to talk about this. So I have my first generation AirPods right here. There's no juice in these because they've been sitting. And I have the Relay FM floss sticker on it. Yeah,
that's great.
Pretty funny. But I realized how old and goofy these look now with the long stem on them. But at any rate, so I had these and I didn't dislike these. They worked really well for me. And And then when these started to go, I went and got the AirPods Pro. So I have those here, and I used the silicone tips for quite a while, and then I swapped them out for like a foam tip, and those were comfortable, but they didn't always stay in my ear very well. And so I went back to the silicone tips, and now I get this weird. Now, first off, the left one is completely useless. I could throw that out because it rattles like crazy. Like I was laying in bed with the audio really low, listening to an audiobook one night, and it was rattling just from the guy's voice at like a very low volume, and so that one's completely worthless. The right one works really well, but I get this weird feeling in my ear now where it feels like it's trying to suck my eardrum out, and I'm not.
That's odd.
Yeah, I'm not happy with that. So, and then of course I got the AirPods Max. We've talked about that on the show before. That, I really love these. They sound amazing. And they don't stick in my ear. They go over my ear, which from my past experience with headphones, like that's comfortable for me. I've spent, what was it, 4 5 hours a day in the studio when I was in radio with these, or with not these, but with regular headphones on, and they're very comfortable for me. I like them. I wish I could get a longer cord for them, because that's an issue. But then I got to thinking about it, and I'm like, the new AirPods really kind of, I use the regular AirPods a lot, and I think these might be the trick for me, because they have the AirPod like design, or the AirPod Pro like design, but they don't have the silicone tips. I would miss the noise cancellation and the transparency mode,
Uh-huh.
but I got them. So, and they've been working really well for me. I'm really happy with them. And apparently my iMac is telling me that the charging case needs to be recharged. But
So really the only difference is no silicone tips and no noise cancellation.
pretty much they have the spatial audio and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, no noise cancellation, no silicone tips. So,
And you like them.
I do. I like them quite a bit. And they're a little bigger, which, as we've established on the show before, I probably have a little bigger ear canal. So that sits in there really nice. It's a little weird going from the AirPods Pro, because the AirPods Pro have that silicone tip, so it kind of feels like they're seated in there a little bit differently. These feel like they're just sitting in my ear, like they could fall out at any moment. But I haven't had a problem with them falling out, so I'm not unhappy with them. I think they're going to be good. I I will tell you, there's been some talk about, they call them MagSafe, that they work with the MagSafe chargers. So you know that when you run your phone over the top of the charger, it'll suck right up to the charger,
Uh-huh.
and attach to your phone and charge your phone. So I did that with these. Will that work? So I just ran them kind of just very, very close to the charger. It sucked right up to the bottom of the case and started charging the case. So
Nice.
yeah, so it's legit MagSafe. So it's very cool. So I'm really happy with them. They fill that little void in my headphone life for now. So I'm good with it. So
Very cool. That's not the new toy you got though, is it?
no, no,
Oh. You got two new things.
yeah. Well, I've gotten a few new things, but that's going to be one of two that I'm talking about on the show today.
Fair enough. I still think
So
it's I'm gonna die on this hill, Mitch. When they had the long stem, you had to tap on it. When you get the short stem, you got to push a dumb little button. It's so backwards. So backwards.
I'm I'm gonna die on this hill too. I just hated tapping my ears. It was uncomfortable and weird, and like to reach up and just click on it or double click on it if I want to skip something. To me, that feels so much more natural to me than the tap.
It's okay. Add it to the list of things we disagree about.
Hey, you know what? We are diverse. We
You
have
have the right to be
diversity.
wrong. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we got some new chips.
Yes. I don't M1 Pro and then Max. I don't know why they just why can't they just be consistent with how they name things? Like they named this the same way they name their phones, not the way they name their other chips.
Okay.
Like I don't understand. That's the only thing I'm going to complain about because these things are nuts
Mhm.
in the best way possible.
Well, the
They're
way
awesome.
if I can talk about the naming for just a second, I was thinking about this too because at first I wasn't like I had the same reaction that you did. Like this, the naming conventions are just weird. But let's talk again real quick about the AirPods. You know, you have your regular AirPods, so you have your M1, you have your AirPods Pro that add features, and you have your M1 Pro, and then you've got your AirPods Max that are like the pinnacle of the product. Um, that is your M1 Max. So I think from a naming convention there, it kind of makes sense the way they're stepping it up. It's
Yeah,
just that
but
it's not
when you
consistent across their products.
yeah, when you compare it to the phone, that breaks though because the Pro and the Max are the same except for the size.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only difference is it's bigger. It doesn't give you any extra performance now.
Yeah,
So
and unfortunately, because of the way they've positioned their phones, I think it'd be really difficult for them to go to a just being able to have a Pro and a Max instead of having a Pro and a Pro Max because your your Pro is your Pro, but then when you go to the larger Pro, it's still a Pro. They still have to have that designation because it's in the Pro line, but now it's the Max version of that Pro.
they do this to
So,
themselves, Mitch.
you know,
I have zero pity for them when it comes to this. It's their own decision making.
no,
So
you got a crackle in your mic.
a little bit there, yeah. I think my cable was a little loose.
Hmm. Okay. But
But
anyway, the performance.
performance, yes. Whoo boy. Uh I want, will not buy, but I want very bad.
I would that was
But
going to be a question if you were really considering trading in that M1 Air that you have.
no, because the M1 Air does everything that I need to do without even breaking a sweat. Um, so there's while I want very badly one of these new MacBook Pros that has all of the IO
Mm-hmm.
and these new chips, uh, they're so expensive, and I have zero need for them. Just want, and
Mm-hmm.
that's that. I don't spend $3,000 on something I want because that's a crap ton of money that I really honestly can't afford right now for something I don't need. So it's I just, look at them and go, "Oh, wouldn't that be fun to have?" And then realize that the machine that I already have that I've already paid for does everything that I needed to do
Mm-hmm.
without breaking a sweat, like I said. So, yeah, impressive from an engineering standpoint, incredibly so. Especially the Max, like goodness gracious,
Mm-hmm.
the things that they've been able to pull off with that is like, and I love the guy that does the presentation for the chips and like his secret lab in the basement, and he's like very and like walks like he's
Mm-hmm.
he reminds me of like a Bond villain in a good way.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed. Like I did not expect this much of a performance jump this quickly from the M1 because the M1 was already a huge jump from what they were able to do with Intel chips. But for the second generation to be these two options, I don't think anyone expected this much of a performance bump so quickly. But that's, I mean, very what's the word? The future is bright.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the present is, but goodness gracious, imagine what these are going to be like in 4 or 5 years. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And the fact that they're running out ahead of pretty much every other chip manufacturer right now. It'll be interesting to see how the industry responds to it.
I'll probably just cry a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, you think about it, like it's they can, because they run the full stack now. I mean, this is what happens when you run the entire hardware, firmware, software, the whole stack.
Right.
You get advantages like this, you know? And with Windows being the main competitor software wise, the only company that could technically rival this is Microsoft with their Surface line. You know, Dell's not going to do it because they don't run Windows. You know, HP, like it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not their product.
Exactly. They run the hardware, and then another company makes the chips, and then another company makes the software. You know, so Apple has positioned itself well in the past to allow themselves to do this now. So it's I'm interested. I haven't seen the benchmarks yet, you know, like the Geekbench scores and that sort of stuff. But part of me doesn't want to because of how ludicrous I think they're going to be.
Well, from what I've heard, they are ludicrous. So
yeah.
I don't really get into benchmarks personally, but I don't really like. If I was a huge PC gamer, maybe I would care more, but I just don't really. I will say that I'm probably up for a laptop update in the next year or two. And so this is incredibly exciting for me because, you know, I know what my next a laptop is probably going to look like. And as far as like, this is the first time I think I've really seriously considered getting a really souped up laptop and running it in clamshell mode in my studio, connected to a computer, and have it be the one canonical computer that I have, and not have a desktop, and not need the desktop, because the laptop will do everything that the desktop will do. And in this case, you know, these are the fastest machines that are available right now from Apple. So you know, I can see that this being a legit replacement for even a desktop computer.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
But I just bought my iMac, so I'm not going to be replacing that anytime soon.
Yeah, that's no, but like the new Pros, like multiple USB-C Thunderbolt ports. You got your SD card slot back. Amen. Hallelujah. Praise Jesus. Built-in HDMI. Oh, it's just wonderful that they finally realized that dongles are not the answer.
Well, they fixed the ports for the most part. There's no USB-A port on these, which,
well,
you know,
fine.
I never expected that there would be, but when you start talking about ports that people need and dongles and such, you know, they're still missing an Ethernet jack and any kind of USB-A. So there's still going to be some dongles that'll be needed, but it won't be needed by the majority of people probably.
Yeah.
So
yeah, giving the SD card and the HDMI back was glorious.
And that keyboard, no more touch bar.
Yes, actual function keys.
Yeah, full height function keys, a huge escape key. I can't remember which podcast it was, but it was like the oh fine, you want your escape key back? Here's a huge escape key on your keyboard. So it was kind of the snarky response. So
yeah,
but I really like the black, you know, inlay and everything.
Oh yeah, on the keyboard. Yeah.
They went back to the half height offset arrow keys. I didn't think it was a big deal, you know, for the longest time, and then I started using the arrow keys a lot, and it's a big deal. Like, you got to be able to feel your keys, your arrow keys, and not have to look down at the computer. And when you got to look down at your keyboard to find your arrow keys, you know, that's a no win for me. The fact that they went to all half height arrow keys again, and they now feel different again on the keyboard. So
yeah,
I'm excited about that.
They're wonderful little machines.
How you feel about the notch?
Oh, I don't care.
Yeah,
whatever. It gives you more screen real estate, and they hide the menu bar up there anyways. So
yeah,
it doesn't bother me at all.
I think it's good. I think the only place where it would fall down for me, and it really has to do with the menu bar itself, and maybe a little bit of my OSD. I was about to say OSD. I have no idea. OCD is that, like, I would want it split in half on either side. And there's a lot of talk right now that if you've got a lot of menu items for the app you're in, that it will jump over the notch and continue on the other side. So they won't hide behind that.
I hope so.
But the menu bar icons coming from the other side, if they go under the notch, they get hidden under the notch.
Who has that many menu bar? You. Yeah.
Dude, I run bartender for a reason, man. You should see all the menu bar icons I have.
We did that for a show, didn't we?
We talked about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, sorry about it. Well, good thing you're not getting one of these machines just yet.
Yeah.
You have time to figure out your menu bar icon situation.
Yeah, it'll come. I'll probably give it a couple of years and then I'll pick one up. But yeah, and that could all change. I've got some stuff coming down the pipe that might change some things up for me. So we'll see, but nothing major. I'm not going to Windows or anything, so don't think I'm losing my religion. But
okay, REM, calm down.
So yeah, good stuff. I've heard really good things about the mini LED display.
Yes.
So 120 hertz refresh rate, variable refresh rate.
Which I'm so used to on my phone now. Like, I don't even notice it anymore.
I love it. Like, I don't either, but the smoothness of it. I think if I had to go back and use a device that didn't have that, I totally would notice that it didn't have it, because my eyes are just so used to it now.
Well, my iPad mini does not have it. I will tell you that. But yeah, no, I can imagine the display, like the 14 or 16 inch, like that size, the animation has got to be just very pretty.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Stephen Hackett's turned it off already.
Well, of course he has.
Well, he I don't know if it's motion sickness or what he gets, but it bothers him.
It makes him nauseous, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, but
and I'm sure he's not the only one, and it's not his fault, right? It is what it is.
If you haven't listened to Connected this last week yet, he talks about it on there. So briefly, but he does discuss it. So cool. Good
machines, Mitch.
I'm super.
I dare say great machines.
Amazing machines.
Any other superlatives we can throw out there? Us good Midwesterners.
Incredible,
glorious.
Yeah, fantastic, phenomenal.
Yeah, there we go. I think that covers the bases.
There's more, but we digress. So
yes.
But yeah, MagSafe is back. Like legit old school MagSafe.
It cracks me up. Why they ever got rid of it in the first place?
Right.
It made no sense. Hey, we've got this really cool power adapter that will just clip off whenever someone trips or runs over your thing to protect your computer. It's perfect. Everyone loves it. Hey, let's remove it. Like, why? It makes no sense. Let's go back to the way it used to be, where your power cord was stuck in there real good, so that if anyone trips or runs over it, your $2,000 laptop is done. Gonzo. Such a stupid decision.
Yeah. But it's glad to
brought it back. So yay.
Yep.
Old things are new again, right?
Yeah. The guys on ATP call it the apology tour Mac. So.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Here's all your ports back. We got rid of your touch bar and we gave you MagSafe back. It's just like, those MacBook Pros we made 5 years ago that everyone loved.
Right. So you don't have to.
They're all smoking too much of that weed that their crack marketing team was into. The engineers were like, "Oh,
maybe that's what it was."
Seriously, calm down, people.
I think it takes more than weed, but
well, yeah, who knows? But it was just like, that's exactly right. Everything that was good about the MacBook Pro 5 years ago is now back, but it's combined with a mini LED display and a chipset that is just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So,
did you see the rumors of the new iPad? I'm sorry, MacBook Airs.
No.
So
I haven't.
The rumor is next year,
okay,
they're going to be releasing new M1 MacBook Airs. Now, whether or not they'll have a different chip, like it'll be an M2 generation chip or something like that, that'll be advancing the MacBook Air. But the rumor is that they're going to come in the colors of the iMac.
Oh, of course.
And the notch will be white, because the entire bezel and everything of the front of the computer will be white instead of black. To match it'll probably be light gray, to match the iMacs, but that's the rumor.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep my my space gray or whatever color mine is with the black bezels.
Quite honestly, and I don't know that we'll be in a position to be able to afford one, but my wife and I have talked a lot about getting her a MacBook, and I would love to get her a purple MacBook Air, so that she has a nice machine to do her work on. So
yeah, man.
But
hashtag MacBook for Jamie.
Yeah.
Started, people.
Yep. And the sad thing is she's always gotten my hand-me-downs. So she's never had like a brand new, like super fast, no worries type of machine. She's always had one that she's had to sit at. Because right now she's rocking my 2010 MacBook Pro, my 15-inch. So
yikes. Does that thing require a crank to turn over?
Almost, yeah. Oh, but it does have MagSafe.
There you go.
But no, she doesn't use it that much, but every once in a while she needs the screen real estate, and it is a 15-inch, so it's a nice big one. But so I would have to talk to her about maybe looking at a 13-inch as opposed to the 15-inch. But right now she does almost everything on her phone. So yeah.
You don't let her use your iMac?
Well, if she ever wanted to come down in the studio and use it for something, I would not have a problem with that. I've offered her my MacBook Pro as well to use for stuff, and she just kind of, whatever, it's fine. So she's not the tech geek that I am. So
that's fair.
If she can do it, on her phone, she's gonna try and find a way to do it on her phone.
Impressive.
So I don't think there's much more to talk about here.
Yeah,
we didn't get the Mac Mini that was rumored. It'll be sometime next year. There's still
it's going to be a little beast, isn't it?
Probably. Yeah. There's still a 27-inch to 30-inch iMac out there somewhere that we'll probably see next year, end of next year. Mac Pro. Can you imagine a Mac Pro? What they're going to do with that?
I don't know. I'm hesitant to get my hopes up.
Mm-hmm.
One, because I'll never own one, because it's just the price will be prohibitive for everybody. It's like in the door for $5,000,
This makes me wonder if there's a legitimacy to the mini Mac Pro, or the Mac Pro Mini, or however they would phrase it. Something that has the Mac Pro styling, but is a much smaller machine, because with these chips, you do not need discrete graphics cards and all this other stuff that they
Well,
have.
yeah, and
in
the
Mac Pros.
thermal infrastructure will be a lot smaller too because they
Yeah.
run a lot cooler.
I mean, you're not going to need that big of a box to put this in. So, you know, I could foresee a less expensive version of the Mac Pro that's a smaller unit, doesn't have the the extra bays for putting in your own cards and stuff like that. It's just basically, really souped up Mac Mini. And then they offer a Mac Pro that has the capability of discrete graphics and all that kind of stuff. So I'd be interested to see what they're going to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm interested from a curiosity standpoint
Mm-hmm.
because, like I said, I certainly will not be able to afford either of them.
Yeah, this is not a machine that I would ever buy unless, I won the lottery and had like obnoxious amount of money to spend on stuff just because I could. But it's definitely not something that I would get because I need it. So
Yeah, I'm not producing any animated films over here.
yeah. Well, cool, man. What's delighting you today?
Well, right currently the thought of Michigan beating Michigan State is delighting me. Now, whether that comes to fruition or not remains to be seen. But either way, I will be having myself a nice steak after the game, either in victory or defeat. So I'll either be celebrating or swallowing my sadness. But it's, I mean, like sports really don't matter. Like it's just a game, But because of the shortness of the college football season, I really do enjoy game day because I get 12, maybe 13 games a year. And it just, to me, they matter more because there's fewer of them, right? The whole scarcity principle.
Right.
And it's fall and winter, my favorite times of year. And so football goes right along with that. And I've always been a bigger college fan than I have been a pro fan, and that goes for most sports. I enjoy college athletics more than pro, for whatever reason. It's just my bent. But yeah, and it's just like I said, it's the first time they've been in the top 10, or each team has been in the top 10 for this in-state rivalry since the '60s. So this has never happened in my lifetime. Michigan has generally been better than Michigan State in my lifetime, though Michigan State has had a few really good teams. But overall, Michigan has been better. And Michigan State beat us last year in a really, really bad way. So that there's a bitter taste in a lot of Michigan fans' mouths. And the stereotype is that Michigan fans are snobby and sore winners and sore losers when it comes to this particular in-state rivalry, and there's truth to a lot of that for a lot of Michigan fans. I would like to think I don't fall in that category, but we all think better of ourselves, generally speaking. But it's just if you had told me, because Michigan sucked last year, we went 2-4, and then our last 2 or 3 games got canceled because of COVID. So we didn't have to lose to Ohio State by 50 because God is good. But like if you had told me going into this year that Michigan would be 7-0, would be ranked number 6 in the country, would have one of the best rushing offenses in the country, 253 yards a game, and that Michigan State would also be 7-0, it'd be number like I would have taken the opposite bet for $1 million. Like there's no way this is going to happen. It's impossible. But here we are, and so it's delighting me because no one saw this coming. And here we are. And it's going to be, whether we win or lose, I just want to enjoy the moment,
Right.
So
it's good stuff.
Just going to be a good Saturday, even if we lose, because sports really don't matter. But it is something that is entertaining for the most part. So, what about you, sir? Are you finally going to tell me about this toy that has remained hidden?
Yes.
I'm assuming. Oh,
I
can
can't
I
pick it up
guess?
and show it to you.
Can I guess?
Go ahead.
It's not Legos. That
Nope.
was last time. Is it a piece of audio equipment?
It is a piece of audio equipment.
Did you get a new interface?
I wouldn't call it an interface.
Did you get
It has that in it, but
it has it? Okay.
I'm sending you a link.
It has an interface built in.
So to tell the
story,
I got a new mixer. So to tell the story here, I had a Behringer mixer here, kind of an inexpensive mixer. It was very kind of had a lot of features, a lot of buttons, a lot of stuff going on the board. I bought it because being from radio, I thought, I can handle this. I can get all my settings right and get everything in there properly, and and do this really well. Well, over the years that I've used that board, I've had two significant issues. One issue, and you don't hear it on the podcast because I filter it out, but I get a lot of background, like a background hum or like an interference in my mic, and I've never been able to really filter that out. And I've always been suspicious because I have a shielded cable, so that shouldn't be the issue. And I will say that right behind me, there's a little wall, kind of a half wall. And right behind that is the electrical board for the whole house. So there's a little bit of electromagnetic energy in this room. So it is something that I totally was going to be a problem. So I thought, well, maybe it's the mixer, and that could be one problem. But the other problem that I was having is that it would not connect to my computer consistently. So I've never told you this, right? I don't think I have. We run into a couple issues after we've gotten on the call, but I have a pretty regular issue where it's not connected to the computer, so I have to go in the back of the computer. I've got to unplug the USB, plug it back in, and then it may or may not connect. So I might have to do that a couple of times before the computer sees it's working properly, and everything's going well. So last weekend I was checking my email, and there is we've done used pod decks on the podcast before. It's we've used it for a couple of our I'd hesitate to call them throwaway episodes, but some of the little fun episodes that we've had where we've answered questions and done stuff like that. We've used that. Well, he's creating kind of whole community around podcasting and stuff like that, and he was giving one of these boards away. Well, I didn't win it. But then I looked on Amazon, and the financing that they offered was totally reasonable for my budget, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this thing a try. And this thing, I got it yesterday, and I hooked it up, and I've had zero issues with it. It's worked exactly the way that I thought it should.
Can you tell the listeners what it is, because you haven't done that yet?
It's the Tascam Mixcast 4. I'll put a link in the show notes. But it has everything that you would expect it to have, but it's very simplified board. There's lots of lights, which just pleases the kid in me. But it it's very basic. On your first channel, you do have a talkback button, which is kind of nice. So if anybody who has ever worked in radio or worked in a studio like that, the talkback button is really nice because I can, if I've got other people connected to this board, because it has 4 mic inputs and it has 4 headphone outputs. So you can take this somewhere and record a podcast with 4 people and not have to have any additional equipment. So that's one of the really cool things about this. Because before with a Behringer, I had to run my audio from the Behringer into another. Matter of fact, I think I can pull this off the wall right now and show you. I had to run this through another headphone amp to be able to have anyone else on headphones. So, this has, 5 jacks in the back, 4 of them are headphone jacks and one of them is the input. And each headphone had a separate volume. Well, on this board, there's 4 headphone outputs, which it's the raw output. So you're not getting, it's not going from a headphone jack into another splitter. So you're not getting degradation of the audio quality, which is what I was getting with this. But there's a volume knob for each of those headphone jacks on the top of the board. They're all lit with a light that's different, different color that actually matches up with the color of the number of the microphone channel. So you can have, I'm on channel 1, so I'm green, and I have the headphone jack that's illuminated in green. I have somebody else in the studio with me that is on the second channel, on channel 2, and I can have them and that's purple, so I can give them, the purple headphone jack, and I can have that all lined up. It's all color coded. It's very simple and very easy to use. So I literally last night I plugged everything in, turned on the board, and it worked. It connects via USB-C to USB-C cable to the iMac. So it's a good solid connection. It has a 5-inch LCD display on it that is a touchscreen display. So with each mic channel, you can go in and massage your settings. There are presets, so you can select presets, or if you know what you're doing, you can go in and massage them to get them about the way they want, or the way you want it to be. So you have compressors, you have a noise suppressor, which I have on today. I had to adjust the attack on it a little bit because it was clipping me a little bit. But I did set that, so some of the background noise that you'd normally hear on the podcast while I was recording, you don't hear today. I don't hear it. So there's a little bit that I can't get out of it, but I'll get that in the post-production. But this board is awesome. It has a recorder built into it, so there's a SD card on the back, which is kind of a funny story. This morning I plugged the 32 gigabyte SD card into it to see, to try it today. And when I set it up to record multi-track, so it records every channel on the board, it would gave me like 5 minutes of recording. So then when I switched it I turned off the multi-track, so it's just going to record one backup track, and that's all I really wanted for was a backup track. It now it's like 30 hours and some odd minutes of recording. So
yeah, that's a bit of a difference.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, based on everything that you just said, it sounds just like my Rodecaster Pro, but the Tascam version.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was gonna say it's probably very similar to that.
How big is it?
It is about that big. It's maybe I think they said it was like 22 inches wide. I think it's a little bit bigger than your Rodecaster.
How tall is it though? Like, mine's definitely not 22 inches wide, but it's probably like a foot tall.
It fits underneath my iMac. I can slide it underneath my iMac. So it's maybe like 2.5 inches tall.
So you said like it was 22 inches wide. What's the height? Not that, sorry, tall what's the other side of the rectangle?
I'm sorry, the other way?
Yeah, you said it was 22 inches wide.
The depth.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That word.
I would give it, just from looking at it, it's just slightly over a foot, maybe.
Okay, so I think they're pretty close in size then.
Yeah. So, what I didn't talk about is if you look at the picture of it, there are 8 colored buttons on the bottom there. Mm-hmm. You can program those with sound effects. You can program it with a podcast intro. You can also program it with mic effects. So you can assign mic effects to, like, I can assign a mic effect to my mic and then hit that button when I want it.
So you can set it up, auto tune yourself.
Yeah, right. I don't know, there are auto tunes built into it, but there is a voice changer or like a pitch changer in there. There's reverb. I suppose you could probably stack some of these to make different voices and stuff like that.
So that
But
sort of like the mic effects, the
mhm,
Rodecaster does not have.
yeah.
It has the the touch pads that are color coded, and you can put
Mhm.
any sort of audio file, and you can like change the playback type to where they're like it loops or it stops or whatever. So like you can get the stupid bam, 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 horn if you want to,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have
Talking about
any.
this one.
Yes. Now we're a rap video.
I hope that wasn't like super loud and I can at least edit it down.
No, but that is exactly what I was talking about. That was
Yeah.
perfect. But it does not have. You can't assign mic effects to it, so that's something that the Tascam has that the Rodecaster Pro does not.
Yeah. So, and there's 8 banks of those effects or sound effects, so you can go in and record your sound effects in. I was going to try and get some sound effects in here before the show this morning, but I really couldn't. So but man, I am super stoked about this because a couple of things that I didn't mention. One, if you have an old phone that plugs in that you can get a cable for, that you can plug it in with a 3.5 millimeter jack to the phone, and has the third channel for the mic. You know what I'm talking about, right? So do I have something here? So I have a 3.5 millimeter jack right here on this one, and there's 2 lines on there. I don't know if you know what those are
Yeah,
for.
that's TRS. You need TRRS. You need the third
Right.
one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you need the one with 3 of those lines.
Yeah.
And so if you have a cable like that and you have a phone that'll do this, like you probably do it with the iPhone with a little adapter.
Yeah, you just need a little adapter.
But
yeah,
you can route that into the device here, and there is a channel for a phone.
Yeah,
and you can do a podcast with somebody over your phone. So that's
pretty
really
neat,
cool.
Isn't it? Does it have Bluetooth too?
It has Bluetooth as well.
Yeah.
That was the next thing I was going to get to, is that you can
Man, these are freakishly similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's amazing what you can do with these little things. Like, and you can record direct to it, right? So you can, like you were saying earlier, you can just take this and a couple microphones and go anywhere.
Yeah.
And record.
Yep. Yeah. My pastor, we had talked about doing a podcast together at one point, and he's like, well, can we just do it at the church? Can you just bring equipment here and set it up and we can just record here? And I'm like, well, not really, because I'd have to tear apart my whole setup at home here. This one, I could literally pull it out, disconnect everything I need, grab the power, so I'll still need the power for it, and my headphones, and I wouldn't have to take this mic if I didn't want to, but I could if I wanted to, and just transport that little bit of equipment to where I want to record, do the recording, and then come back here and just plug everything back in, and I'm set. It's way simpler than with the Behringer that I had.
Yeah, it's very convenient.
I like it a lot. I'm really happy with it so far. So that, and it's brightly colored and a little bit mesmerizing. Well, I like it because one of the other things that I like about it, that's probably a real minor thing, is that when, like on the old Behringer, I had these little like LED lights that would show me the level. This thing with that 5-inch screen on it, you can see every channel on here and the levels bouncing on it. And the screen actually looks really good. So I mean, it's probably not necessarily a retina display. Well, but it could be. But it really looks nice. And right now, I know I started the recording on this, my backup recording, a little bit late, but I can tell you we're at 50 minutes, or like probably 52, 53 minutes that we've recorded so far. So, and I've got 29 hours, 44 minutes, and 24 seconds left on the SD card. So not that anybody cares, but yeah, so I'm pretty excited about this board. It's been a lot of fun setting it up, and that's pretty, to say that about audio equipment.
Yeah, right.
Is saying something. So cool.
Well, cool. Yay for new things.
And it works super well with with everything that I've got here, which is a huge bonus for me. I'm super stoked about that, because sometimes you get some of this stuff and it just doesn't it doesn't work as compatibly as you want and stuff like that, and you got to make adjustments. This thing is right out of the box, works great. So
rock on.
Very happy. All right, man. Well, if y'all want to check us out online, you can check us out at innerdialogue.show. That's innerdialogue.show. And you can check out our back catalog. You can also, if you've got questions or comments, you can check me out at Mitch Craig on Twitter. And Cam, you're on Instagram at what was your tag again?
Oh, yeah, it's Cam Brennan.
Oh, Cam Brennan, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Cool. So hit us up on the socials and enjoy our great pod. Can I tell you?
Okay, Edge.
Can I tell you? There are certain things that I hate in life, and I hate that. I hate the pod thing.
You just did it to yourself, though, bro.
I know, and I do it totally ironically because it bothers me so much. But the other thing is you noticed in the new emojis, there's the little heart thing where
heart hands,
yeah, the heart hands thing. I hate that too, because that's such it's such a millennial thing. But I send that to my wife all the time just because because it cracks me up. So
yeah, I'm with you on the hating the hard hands thing.
Yeah. All right, cool, man. Have a good week.
You too, sir. Toodaloo. Yeah, boy.